What's up, guys? It's Anthony, Breakout Daily. Thank you for tuning in. Today we're going to be talking through the stuff I sent to CGC, so stay tuned. Alright, guys, so it's been a couple of weeks since I submitted my books to CGC, and I wanted to talk about my process a little bit, and then kind of walk through it, talk about the books I got and the reason I did some of the things that I did as far as the services I paid for and the reasons why with my list. So if you're not familiar, CGC is a highly regarded and respected grading company for comic books. They do trading cards, and they do a bunch of things, and there's actually a bunch of subsidiaries of this company. Now, I have not submitted anything previous to this with CGC. However, I own a ton of slabs at this point, and I've talked to several people. I got the YouTube education with watching way too many videos on CGC, and I pulled together roughly, I think at one point it was almost 30 books, and then I skimmed it down to 20 books, and then I brought it back up to 25 books, and then I dropped it down to 15 books. And there's several reasons why. So one of the things that helped me kind of walk through the process and whatnot was, after doing all this research, I was feeling pretty insecure. I really was, because I'm like, I don't know. There's stuff I want to send to CGC just to get a slab on it. It doesn't mean that much as far as value goes. Then there's other stuff where I'm thinking, like, you know, there could be some value associated with this beyond it being raw that I'm leaving on the table if it's just a raw copy. And then there was stuff like I have to get graded, or I want to get graded just for the sake of getting it graded and add it to my PC. And so I watched a shitload of videos. Like I said, I was looking at my books and shuffling them back and forth. That's the reason I didn't do a video on it. I started to do and record it, and it became a mess. And part of it might be my like OCD thinking or what have you, to where I'm looking at this and I'm checking cover price and I'm doing that. And then ultimately, to make a long story short, I was on IG, and this is not a shout out or anything of that nature. I was on IG. I just so happened to like one of Regie Collects videos, and I explained this to him. He starts sending me links to his videos. He's like, dude, watch this video. And I had seen almost all of them. I didn't watch every one of them, but he sent me links to one, and then I watched that one and another one, and we went back and we talked a little bit about it. And I think my biggest issue was my own insecurities, because it's expensive, and it's a commitment. And that's really the reason I wanted to make this video, more or less, was I got caught in a situation to where I knew what I wanted to do, but I was extremely hesitant because it's a commitment. It's a financial decision. Beyond the cost of the books, you know, where you're going into freight, or logistics, freight charges, how much, and what are you trying to do with the book? And there's a lot of questions that have to be answered. Now, I'm not going to answer your questions for you. I just wanted to share that up front, because I was in a position to where it was like, man. And then after rewatching some of Reggie's videos and rewatching some of the other videos, I built the confidence where it's like, no, you know what? This is going to be one of many CGC runs. Some of these books I just have to have graded because of my PC, because of future spec, and because I truly believe that there is some value to be had here. Now, with that being said, I did go through a thorough inspection. Now, after talking with Reggie and rewatching his videos and others, I came to the conclusion that, and I don't know why I missed this up front, but I did, was pull out the graded books you already have. So if you have graded books, at a myriad of ranges, right? And I do. I have, you know, X-Men 16 at a 6.5 signed by Stan Lee, X-Men 17, X-Men. So I've got older books. And then I've got newer books. Tankers 1 at a 9.8. I've got books from the 90s like X-Men 4, Newsstand. That's a 9.6. And the list goes on and on. That's my point is if you have slab books, it's easier to justify or understand your dirty grade, which is a good way to put it, on what you're trying to do. If you're sending the book in for 9.8 and it's got dings and dashes, or you're unsure and you have a 9.8 slab or several, in my case, I have several 9.8s, I got several 7s, I got several 8s. So it gave me a range to compare apples to apples. You can also go online, go to eBay, go to what have you. The only discretionary thing for me when I did do that was I wanted the ability to just hold it and look at it flat next to what I'm looking at, and flip it over and look at the edges at these angles. That's a little bit more difficult, but you get the idea, right? Because ultimately you're going to preserve whatever the final grade is on that product or on that comic once it's submitted and you go through. Now, obviously, you can resend it and do whatever it is you want to do, but understanding the grade is critical, because you don't want to send in a piece of shit book thinking that you're going to get 9.8 when it's really a 6.5, and vice versa. There's a lot of guys like Regie Collects, like and Comic Tom did a good one. The guys at Pressable Defects have done really good videos on CGC unboxings, and a lot of other guys have walked through what their thoughts are pre and post grading. And so that's my approach. Laid them out, ran them against other books, looked at the defects on the 7.5, looked at the defects on my book, and was comfortable with the ranges that I came up with, and said, okay, this is the final 20 books. And so with that, I'm going to run through the list, and we'll talk real briefly about the books, and we'll just go from there. So I did submit 20 books to CGC. They are at CGC. I FedEx them. Don't forget with CGC, if you get a membership, you can also get the ability to use some of their additional resources for like insurance and items like that. So I'd highly recommend that you insure your package if you're sending it USPS, UPS, FedEx, whatever, for the estimated value, because if anything does happen, you don't want to have, it could be a $20 charge or $30 charge or $50 charge to get there. But if it doesn't get there or it arrives damaged, then you're dealing with a whole different situation. And if you've got thousands of dollars worth of potential value in those books, it's something to consider. I'm not going to dive knee deep into that. Maybe I will in a future video. Anyways, let's go into it. So the grading tiers, then they do group your books together. So let me kind of show you this. See if you get, hopefully the camera will pick that up. So they kind of group it together when you're doing your packing slip. And so it's like comic grading plus pressing, comic grading plus pressing. And that was based off of value and whatnot. And then it's comic grading plus pressing plus custom labels. So those are the three categories that I selected for my 20 books. And the first tier, which is a higher tier selection of books, I went ahead and am having all of my books pressed because there's just no reason not to, in my opinion. $15 spent could make the difference in a full number grade or half a number grade. And in some cases, not in all, that could be hundreds of dollars left on the table because you opted out. So something to consider. Anyways, I submitted the Young Avengers #1, which I've shared several times on here. Black Panther #1. Marvel Superhero Secret Wars #1. We also have, and that's pressing and grading, and then and those are all on Rush. So those ones I did pay the extra service fee so I could try to get them turned out faster. Comic grading plus pressing, just under standard, not Rush, is Jonah Hex 1, Mark Spector Moon Knight #1, Tankers #1, because that this other Tankers copy I had, that it was gorgeous, and I already have one 9.8, so I don't see any reason why this one can't be a 9.8. I mean, this thing, just beautiful. Millar and McNeven's Nemesis 1. That goes into my Millar collection that I'm trying to build out because I think he's got a bright future at Netflix, even if they screwed him on Jupiter's Legacy. We have X-Men #1, which is I believe it was the Patrick Gleason 1 in 100 cover from the newest X-Men. Eternals #1, the Boss Logic variant. I love the cover. Black Adam Endless Winter Special, which is the Boss Logic cover. Spawn 301. I got a beautiful copy of 301 with the nostalgia Spiderman cover on it. I love it. Super clean book. That one's just going in my PC, and some of these are going into my PC. So that was one that will. Eternals probably will. Black Adam probably will. The Boss Logic stuff is just my jam. I love it. Let's keep going. Uncanny X-Men 213 is going in. X-Men #5 is going in. That one's going on my PC as well. I got a really nice copy of X-Men #5, which, if you guys aren't familiar, that's the second series where it is Omega Red versus Wolverine. Jim Lee killed it with the cover. It's one of my favorite Series 2 X-Men covers. And I just want it slabbed and to be able to put it up and to show people. Iron Man 118, pretty good copy. We'll see what comes out of that. That's the first appearance of James Rhodes. Something the Killing the Children #1 foil cover. That one is just a future spec thing, just like X-Men 1. Tankers, those are some books that I'll probably, if I get the 9/8 or the grades I'm hoping for, 9.6, 9/8, 9/8 preferably, that'll allow me to get some value in the trade market or current books market to sell or what have you. Web of Spiderman #1. I have a pretty nice copy, I think, with a press and a clean. That's gotta run in the mid to high 9s. It was super square book, beautiful cover, flattened out and cleaned up. I would question why it wouldn't get in the high 9s, but we'll see. I will do a full unboxing of these books as they come back. So now we're going into comic grading, pressing, and custom label. Now, custom label is an option for books that associate with the label. Now, I did have an issue with this, and I could not get it to work, so I didn't send the book in, which sucks because I got to figure it out. I actually am going to start gearing up another CGC set of books to get sent, and I got to email them, and I'll explain more in a moment once we get on this list. We have Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars #8. Of course, the first appearance of the black Spider-Man costume. So beautiful, gorgeous copy. Again, it gets pressed. I think it's gonna do well in grading. Wolverine #1. It's pretty clean as well. I'm hoping for a high grade on that. X-Men 94. Now this one, I'm praying I get a mid. I'm really, really hoping it's hitting the 7s. Oh, it would make my day if I was hitting in the 7s. I don't know if it will. And then we've got Invincible 19. That Invincible 19 is a beautiful grade. That has to be a 9.8, 9.6, 9.8. I'm thinking more 9.8. This thing is perfectly square. I don't even think it needed a press, but I'm going to get one anyways. That book is blowing up, and I got the Invincible Skybound label on it. Now, I was trying to add Invincible, I want to say 33, but I'm wrong. I think the number's wrong. Let me look. Anyways, it was the first full cover appearance by Battle Beast, and it's climbing in price. I think fair market value for the book alone is like $40, $50. Anyways, it's just a badass cover, and here we go. Oh, 115. So it's book 115. My phone is broke, but we'll see if you guys can get an idea. There it is right there. Maybe that looks okay on camera. I hope so. Anyways, I was going to put that in. In fact, it was in my stack, out of my stack, in my stack, because I got a crispy copy of that. But for some reason, I put it in, and the CGC, like when you fill out the form, a lot of it will auto-populate for you to include dates and issues. And I had to add the issue because apparently no one sent it in for grading, I guess. And when I did that, it wouldn't let me use the CGC Invincible label on it. Now, that is a book I feel deserves the label on it. Now, there's certain books on here that I was going to label, and then I was like, oh, screw it, I'm not going to. But I do like the idea of being able to throw those labels on certain books, like the Secret Wars. I got a Spiderman label, New York Spider-Man, Wolverine. I got Wolverine. I believe it's Wolverine #2 from the Frank Miller version, where he's leaping at the center of the photograph, or center of the illustration at you. And then X-Men 94. I got X-Men, man. I got the classic X-Men label, and then Invincible. Obviously, I've got Invincible, which he's flying across the cover on. So I like it. That's my list of 20 books, my first submission. We will be doing the full unboxing. But I did want to bring this video forward because of the hesitation that I experienced, and really having even a quasi text conversation with someone. In my case, I was fortunate enough to talk with Regie back and forth a little bit, rewatch his videos, and then gaining the confidence that it's like, I got this, man. I have owned, sold, traded a ton of things in my life, and for whatever reason, I was like, man, is this worth it? That set of books, those 20 books, with the submission and fees currently, without them opening it, is costing me right around $1,000. Keep in mind, I am expressing or fast tracking, as they say in the CGC world, 6-7 of the books that's on that list, and that's where quite a bit of additional fees came in. The reason I'm doing that is I want to make sure and get some of the books back because of potential sales, because I may sell them or trade them, but I want to get them back sooner than later. And I watched several videos to where a couple of guys do that with a couple of books in their CGC stack, and then CGC opens the books up, and if you've got a couple, it can help expedite your process. Now, again, all 20 books are being pressed and cleaned and obviously graded. So I feel like that will, at minimum, give me the best value per dollar in this case. We'll go back through this whole list once I get books back. Obviously, some of these books may come back sooner than others, so we'll do those once those come out. But I'm excited, guys. Chunk of these books are going into my PC. I still have, and I'm growing another batch that I'll be sending here shortly. That said, I will be more comfortable with sharing with you guys and walking through how I do my dirty grade and why I submit books from that perspective. But in this case, I just wanted to share it because they're already there. They're sitting there in Florida, from Alaska to Florida. So that's what it is, guys. Hey, thanks for checking out the Breakout Daily. And we've got a ton of really cool and fun content that we're going to be dropping here at the Breakout Daily, so you're not going to want to miss that. Hit the notification bell. Check us out on TikTok, Instagram, and everywhere else. Thanks for tuning in. Catch up with you guys in the next video.